All right, guys. So this is going to be your third email in your starter program. I'm sure y'all are dying for some information about nutrition at this point. We really haven't dove too deep into it other than some conversations in the classes. So here's your day. So this is your nutrition video. It's a little longer than the first two, but it's well worth it because if you really want to make progress, this is how you got to do it. All right. So in this video, we're going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover how to find your total caloric needs. So you know what your calorie target is, and then we're going to tell you how to track your food, or teach you how the basics of how to track your food. Before we go deeper, I know I'm going to lose a lot of people at some point here because they're going to think, oh, I got to start making all these changes and limit what I'm eating and eliminate all the things I love, and that's not the case right now. Okay, we're not making any changes to our diet right now, nothing at all. This is only about knowing how many calories you're having and then starting to gather some data, right? Data becomes the most important thing. We've talked about it a few times. We'll talk about it again next week. Tracking things is the most important part of seeing results. So that's all we're starting to do. We're starting to establish that practice. All right. One last caveat before I go into it, which is in exercise at the beginning is far more important than nutrition because you're much more likely to stick to exercise. It's 3 hours or 4 hours a week rather than sticking with nutrition at the beginning, which is a 24/7 mindset shift. So I always tell people exercise is your keystone habit. Focus on getting that habit down pat first, and then change your focus to nutrition once you feel like exercise is no longer a struggle to make a part of your life, right? So if you're ready for this, we're going to go into it. If not, the video will always stay with you. You can return to this when you feel ready to add nutrition into your life, right? All right, so step one, how do you find how many calories you need in a day? So that's what this is right here. I'm going to explain this calculation to you. Super simple. Just need a calculator, one multiplication, one math thing, and that's it. You will find your total calorie needs by multiplying your body weight by a number between 9 and 14. All right? So body weight times any number between 9 and 14. Here's how you choose which number between 9 and 14. If you are a small woman, so a woman who's under 150 pounds is going to be considered small in this case, you will be using either a 9 or a 10. A 9 would be for a small lady who is active 3 times a week or fewer. And by active, I mean hour-long workouts. Doesn't include your daily activity. If you're walking around at work or you get 10,000 steps, don't worry about that. It doesn't factor here. So a smaller lady is going to do a 9 or a 10. 10 would be a smaller lady who is active 4 times a week or more. For men, it's going to be either a 10 or an 11. For smaller men who are less active, it's going to be a 10. For smaller men who are more active, it's going to be an 11. For larger men who are less active, it's going to be 11. For larger men who are more active, it's going to be a 12. Right? That's it. You can see that I wrote up to 14 here. For the most part, nobody needs a 13 or a 14 multiplier. The only people that need a 13 or 14 are active athletes, high schoolers, or people that work in construction or very active day jobs like training, coaching, or building stuff, carpentry, right? So if that's you, let me know. You're the exception. We'll work out on this. But for the most part, males and females are going to be between 9 and 12. All right? So your calculation is body weight times your multiplier. This is for me. I'm about 180 pounds. I'm an active trainer. I work out 6 or 7 times a week. I go on full day hikes once a week. So I multiply by 14. And that's going to end up with somebody like myself, very, very active, needing somewhere around 2,500 to 2,700 calories a day. All right? So for most of us, we need fewer calories than we think. Again, all it is right now is to understand how many calories we need versus how many we're actually eating so we can just identify what changes need to be made. All right. Step 2. So step 1 was just identifying. Step 2. You're going to go to the App Store, either Google or Apple, and you're going to download an app called MyFitnessPal. MyFitPal. All right? That's an app that lets you track all your food by inputting common brands from the market. It's going to help you with some videos in there on how to log things, how to identify your food quantities, and the idea is not to be perfect, just to get an idea of what we're actually consuming on a total number of calories per day. Right? Again, do not change your food right now. Don't worry about it. This is private. Nobody will see it. You're only going to share it with us as a training team. Never share it with any other members or other people unless you specifically want to do so in the future. Your homework is going to be from now until your next session to log your food in MyFitnessPal. right? This is really important because it gives us the information on what you're actually doing so we can make recommended changes later on when that time has come or when you're ready for that. All right. Other than that, we're going to talk about the 2 nutrition habits that are most important for people to make changes with, slowly and gradually learning and why. So, nutrition habit number 1, learn to eat 3 meals a day without snacks. And the reason for this is most of our excess calories and our bad calories come during snack time. And we don't track them. We tend to grab a bite of this at the work break room, or we grab a bite of this from our kids' plates, or we go to birthday parties and grab a couple handfuls of pretzels, and all of a sudden we've eaten an extra 500,000 calories a day without really knowing where it's coming from. So learn how to eat 3 meals a day. The second benefit of that is it will force you to eat 3 meals a day. It will force you to learn how big your meals need to be in order to satisfy you, so you're not starving in between things. And then, you'll remove a bunch of excess calories from the snacks that are just not necessary in your day. Eventually, you'll move past this, but this is a good place to start. What I mean by that is you may return to eating snacks. Step 2, or nutrition habit number 2 that you can combine with this is eat vegetables 3 times a day. Right? Vegetables are super important for a couple reasons. 1, they're fibrous and they're very low calories. So fibrous means they have a lot of water in them. They're not super digestible, but they give you a lot of micronutrients that are valuable for you. And they're going to make you full without needing to eat a whole lot of calories worth of vegetables. Number 2 reason to eat vegetables is they're going to crowd out a lot of the negative or less ideal calorie sources that you shouldn't be eating. So if you have a dinner or a lunch or a breakfast and you put vegetables into that, and you make sure to eat your vegetables first, you might be less likely to eat the syrup, or you might be less likely to eat bacon or some of those processed and less ideal calorie sources that come from your meals. And as I'm saying this, I'm getting head nods like, no, never bacon. Never going to crowd out bacon. But yeah, so the basic idea is just learn to get vegetables in as a staple of your diet. Learn to incorporate that into your 3 meals a day, and you'll see some really magical changes. It's a very amazing kind of transition that happens. So that's it for these. This is the bulk of the beginnings of healthy nutrition. If you have questions, please respond to the email with any questions or issues, and we're here to help you. And then please bring in your food logs at your next session. Thanks, guys.